Hello, and welcome to Talk to Downtown. My name is Courtney Wood. I'm the Economic Development Director for the Downtown Stockton Alliance, which is a 501c6 nonprofit property-based business improvement district serving downtown Stockton. This webinar series is intended to connect our business owners, property owners, and visitors with the organizations, resources, and people who can help them address issues which are of top concern to them. Today, we have Special Guest Community Service Officer Phillip Andeola, and we also have Lieutenant Kevin Smith here as support. They're going to be discussing the Downtown Business Watch. And I'd like to begin by having Community Service Officer Phillip Andeola introduce himself. And I will go ahead and ask a list of questions that I have for him. And we will open it up to the viewers to go ahead and ask your questions. And with that, I would like to say, Community Service Officer Phillip Andeola, welcome. And please share with us a little bit about yourself and what you do at the Downtown Business Watch.
Morning, my name is Phillip Andeola. I'm a community service officer with the Stockton Police Department. I've been here about 3.5 years. I've been doing a business watch for in April now, about 2.5 years. And it's grown quite a bit since I've taken over. And it was a program that started way before I even joined strategic operations, which is partly in charge of Business Watch. I have been in contact with over 600 businesses throughout my 11 Business Watch groups that I have for the police department. Downtown is the second largest Business Watch group. There is over 140 businesses that have gone through the Downtown Business Watch. And it's just a way for us to communicate with the businesses and get to know what's going on, what problems are being caused for the businesses in the downtown area.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for sharing. And looks like my video is up and running. So thanks viewers for being patient. So I would kind of like you to share a little bit about how the program got started. What was the impetus behind starting the program? Who did that? Who got that running?
There was another community service officer has since retired. I want to say about 20 years ago, Business Watch started. It was quite different than what it is now. It was more, you're a community service officer, you're assigned to a district. This district here for downtown is civic. So say you're assigned to civic district and you have neighborhood watches, but you also incorporate those businesses in the area. So you start a small business watch with say maybe a block or two of businesses. That has since transformed into what we do now, where it's just strictly business watch for businesses only. Neighborhood watch now is totally separate from the businesses, and the main focus of business watch is just the businesses.
Okay, all right, awesome. And how does the program work? So how do you have monthly meetings? That's what I believe you have, but what else is involved in running the Business Watch?
So we do monthly meetings. We meet once a month. We used to meet in person. Due to COVID-19, we are now at least meeting virtually, so we're still able to communicate and stay in connection with the businesses through online meetings. But we meet once a month. We do a PowerPoint presentation for the businesses. We give them statistics for the area, for the downtown area. We do a crime analysis statistics, which is based off of LexisNexis, and let them know, hey, these are the part 1 crimes, which are more of the serious crimes, which is homicide, robberies, aggravated assault, things of that nature. We let them know what's happened in the past 30, 35 days, depending on when the meeting is held. And we go through the arrests that were in the area. We also go through what we call our deliverables, which is from the previous meeting, any complaints that we get from the businesses that they want us to look into, whether it be a problem person or they had a specific incident at their business, we look into that. We have 16 what's called strategic community officers who handle that. They are not tied to dispatch. They don't handle normal 911 non-emergency calls. They are strictly assigned to strategic operations, and not only are they part of Business Watch, but they're also part of the Neighborhood Watch. We do cleanups throughout the entire city. So they have a lot on their plate, but that is their job. And we also have a DA that is assigned to us, and he comes in with in the PowerPoint section with what's called top offenders, which are the habitual problem people that the businesses have brought to us. It's not necessarily a wanted list or anything like that. It's just the nuisance people that have caused numerous problems to these businesses, that these businesses are tired of dealing with these individuals. They bring them to us. We look into them, see how many incidents they've had, and DA Monty Bennett is the one that is in charge of that, and he gets involved with those cases when those individuals do commit any sort of crime.
Awesome. Okay, so there are a lot of components going into running the business watch, keeping track of the crime that's going on in the particular area, and also keeping track of who's committing some of the, who's one of the most top offending parties in the district that you're working with. Okay. Yeah. Right now, how are people attending meetings?
Right now, we're doing everything over the internet. We're doing everything virtual. We're doing what's called WebEx, which is kind of like the Zoom, but it's just the app that the department uses. We send out the link to the businesses and hope that they can attend. I know right now with COVID-19, a lot of people are working from home or doing schooling with their children. It's a little bit difficult to get some of these people on at the same time, but we're just glad that we're able to at least get some of the businesses that can still participate. I know some are open during this time and they're not able to participate, but we still communicate with them when they're having any issues or anything, any questions or anything like that.
Okay. And did you say when those meetings are? They're the third Tuesday of the month, I believe.
Yes, ma'am. They are the third Tuesday of every month at 9 a.m.
Okay. Okay. And if people want to tune in or hear about what's happening, how can they do that?
So you have to get on our email list. We have an email group for the Downtown Business Watch, and I can add them to the list. That way they can get the link from me for the meeting. It's also a way for the businesses to communicate with each other. If they're having any issues and they want to get that out to the other businesses in the area, they can do that. That's the best way of communication, not only for the businesses, but for myself also. That way everybody gets all the information that we want to send out to everybody. But they have to reach out to me. If you've never been to a meeting, you have to reach out to me and let me know that you would like to be added to that group, so then you can join the meeting.
Okay, perfect. And can you tell us that email so that we have it?
Yes, it is my name. It's Phillip with 2 L's, PHILLIP .Andeola, ANDEOLA at stocktonca.gov.
Perfect. Okay, thank you so much. And I have just one last question about the meetings themselves, and that is, do you have to be a downtown business owner to attend or to be interested in participating in the program?
Meaning like your business is downtown, or just like being a specific owner?
So do you need to, like, could you be, for instance, just an interested resident who wants to know about what's going on in the Business Watch?
No, so if you want to be part of the program with a resident, they have Neighborhood Watch that you can start or join, but this is strictly for businesses only. And it doesn't have to technically be a business owner. I mean, if the owner is always busy or he's never in town, he's has other businesses to attend to, a manager, an employee, anybody that wants to know what's going on in the area can join the meeting.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that information. And now I'd like to ask, in your opinion, what makes the Downtown Stockton Business Watch an asset for the downtown community? Why is it so important?
It's important because you as a business get to know what's going on in the area. Say your business has 0 issues, but say your neighboring business has some issues. You want to know what's going on in your area, because if your neighboring business has issues, eventually you're going to have issues. It's an information sharing meeting, not only from our end on the police side, but from the businesses side. The businesses are out there. You're out there 24/7, way more than we are. We want to know what's going on in your area. The more we know, the more we can assist the businesses and try to mitigate some of the issues. We're never going to stop crime 100%, but we want to mitigate as much as we can.
Okay. And how do you measure the success of the program right now? What kind of benchmarks do you set?
Some of the goals that we've set is one, getting more businesses involved. The more businesses there, the more information we have, the more we can assist the businesses in the downtown area. We also look at some of that, I don't want to say if it's positive policing, but just some of that positivity that the police department bring with the businesses in assisting as much as we can versus, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had to call the police. I know I hear frustrations all the time from businesses saying, hey, I called and it took 3 hours for the police department to get there. Well, one of
Yeah.
the things we work on is trying to get someone there faster. And granted, it may not always work depending on what's going on throughout the city, but that's one of the things that we try to assist with the businesses is getting someone there faster. We have downtown also, I apologize, we have bike officers, and not all 8 work in the downtown area. They're all each assigned to a district, but the bike officers are also patrolled downtown quite frequently. And usually if there's an incident, the bike officers try to be on it as quick as they can because they're usually in the area riding around. But we just want to assist and help as best as we can, as quick as we can.
Okay. And I want to touch on something you just said to see if I can get a clearer picture.
Sure.
So as far as helping with faster response times, is that how is that coming about? Is it because the police department knows that there's a downtown business watch, so anyone who's calling in this area might need attention faster? Or is it because the businesses are telling you, hey, there's an issue, and then you pass it on to PD?
Yeah, so what we ask is that the businesses call either 911 or the non-emergency, whatever they need. And then when they're done with that call, give me a call or shoot me an email or text message, whatever is easier for the businesses to let me know what's going on. I won't be able to assist if I don't know what's going on. I try to look on my computer frequently to see what's going on in the area. And if I see any businesses or streets that I know that there's a business that attends a business watch, and I see a call holding, I'll look in to see what's going on, or if I hear over the radio, recognize a top offender name, anything of that nature, I'll look into it a little bit more. But we ask that they call me to notify me, to let me know, because like I said, those strategic community officers and the bike officers don't really handle the normal calls for service from the police department, from dispatch. So then once that second call is placed to me, I can then reach out to the strategic community officer in the area or the bike officer in the area to see if they are available, if they're busy, if they're eating lunch, whatever it may be, if they can go out there and handle that call.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that for me.
Yes.
So another question I have is, either in your opinion or from the feedback you've heard from businesses, how has the Downtown Business Watch increased the safety of its downtown business owners and employees or people just walking around?
Talking to businesses as well as looking at stats. I look at stats every month, looking at the crime that's in the area. It does fluctuate, but just talking to the businesses during these meetings, a lot of times they had mentioned saying before, the Business Watch got, I guess, changed a little bit in the past few years to what it was before. They're getting a lot more attention, not only from patrol, but from the bike officers. They're not afraid to call the police department when they do have an issue. We've had previous issues where people had an incident or had, just somebody in front of their business that was causing a scene, and they would ignore it. They would not call the police department. Now they're not as afraid to place that call to have us come out to their business and talk to them. A lot of people I've learned do not like to talk to the police when they have incidents. They'd rather just ignore it until it goes away. Unfortunately, it doesn't always work that way, and you do need to, in fact, call the police department to let us know what's going on so we can assist you. I've seen other businesses mention that they've had problem people that they're now, at the time, were afraid of this individual, but with us coming out and talking to them, explaining, hey, you can't lawyer in front of this business, you can't harass customers, things of that nature. They're not as afraid or intimidated by some of the individuals that do commit some of those incidents in front of their businesses.
Okay, so you think that the program has helped encourage reporting of crime and criminal activity, which then is kind of a deterrent because you guys are already aware that this is going on, so you can combat the recurrence of it.
Yes,
Like
and I feel like the businesses feel like we have their back. Like we're not just going to ignore their call, whether it be priority wise, priority one is the highest, five is the lowest. If it's a priority five call, we're still not going to ignore it. We're still going to handle it as quickly and as best as we can.
Okay. I'm interested, just because of what you just shared with us, how is a priority one versus a priority five call different?
So priority one is more like a serious call, whether it be a shooting, a stabbing, robbery in progress, things of that nature where there could be endangerment to life. Our officers are going to get there as quickly as possible, versus a priority five, which is one of the lowest priority calls, which would be crimes that are not in progress. Say it was someone stole, you go to sleep and you wake up in the morning and someone stole your license plate. That's going to be a priority five. That's not going to be at the top of the list, to where a unit needs to get there right away.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. Another question I have is, what are you most proud of in relation to your work on the Downtown Business Watch? So what are the positive outcomes that you've seen that you're just like really excited to see?
I'm excited and glad that we're able to, participate and communicate with a lot of these businesses. I've made a lot of contacts with the businesses, and we also do, even though COVID-19 is happening right now, our office also does events for the city. We put on an event once a month, and I've been surprised and proud of a lot of the businesses that have stepped up and said, hey, I want to assist, I want to participate in these events, even if it's not in their area. We've had events outside of downtown, and you get a ton of downtown businesses saying, hey, I want to participate. What can I do to participate in this event? So I'm glad to see, I was born and raised here in Stockton. I'm glad to see the community come together in that way.
Amazing. What kind of events are these that you're hosting?
We've had Trunk or Treat. Trunk or Treat is one of our bigger events. It evolved from the past few years to what it has been now. I think before COVID, our last Trunk or Treat had been close to maybe 3,000 kids show up. We've also do the snow day in December. We bring snow to the city. We did it after, in 2019 was the last one we did. We did it at McKinley Park, and there was, I think, about 5,000 people there in attendance there. It was a really good time. It's good to see a lot of these kids who have never, even adults, have never seen the snow before, come out and be able to go out there and play with their family and just have a good time.
Oh my gosh, that's really cool. I actually hadn't heard of that event. So that's awesome. That's exciting and awesome to know that you're doing things beyond just dealing with crime.
No, definitely. We try to be more proactive versus reactive. Community services is a big part of our division here, and we want to assist the community as best as we can and show them that we like to have a good time too.
Awesome. Okay, so steering back to crime, sorry to do that, but what are the most common criminal activities that have been reported in downtown in the last year?
Looking back at the last year, the main issues are loitering, vandalism, and auto burglary. Auto burglary, I've noticed, never really goes away in downtown. And it's an unfortunate thing, reading the reports and looking at the statistics, we always tell people, do not leave anything of value in your car. Try to leave it as brand new looking as you can. When people are going to look in your windows, no matter where you are. If you're downtown, if you're in North Stockton, South Stockton, no matter where you're at, you're going to have someone looking into cars, trying to take whatever they can out of that car. And it amazes me how many people leave backpacks full of money, your wallet in your car, your purse, laptops, electronics. It just amazes me how many people have these things in their vehicle for hours on end when they're downtown, either at work or for business, whatever they may be here doing. And it takes less than 30 seconds for someone to see a bag in your back seat, break your window, and take your bag. So we always tell the businesses every meeting, remind your customers, make sure you don't leave anything of value in your car, because it's an unfortunate times we live in that people do not care and they're just looking to steal. And it's one of the biggest things I think downtown has. And granted, it's not a huge like, oh man, there's this crazy crime spree going on, but it's just crime of opportunity. We want to try to limit those crimes of opportunity. Try not to make yourself an easy victim.
Definitely. I think many of us have fallen victim to that all over the city, and in other cities too. So. Oh,
definitely. It's extremely unfortunate, but I mean, it's unfortunate that it happens.
Awesome. Okay. So how have you seen the pandemic affect crime rates for downtown?
For the first shutdown that we had, we noticed everything was pretty quiet, not only just downtown, but the entire city. It took about a month for everything to kind of pick back up and seem that everything just get back to normal. We did see a little bit of an uptick in the business burglaries, with a lot of the businesses being closed, which led to a lot of the businesses just boarding up their windows if they knew they were going to be closed for an extended period of time. That kind of seemed to help some of these businesses from not being broken into. I mean, if you have a business downtown and you were closed for 4 months and you never went to check on your business, chances are when you came after that 4th month, there was going to be a broken window somewhere, which then gets reported. However, who knows when it happened, because a lot of these businesses were just closed for so long.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. What advice can you give for business owners who are experiencing these types of repeated crimes of maybe broken windows, someone's maybe just breaking into their building repeatedly? What kind of advice could you give for people experiencing these repeated crimes?
Definitely call it into the police department and file a police report. Our department is statistic based driven. There's a lot of times when I talk to businesses and they say, no, we didn't call the police. We didn't want to bother you guys. And I'm like, well, that's what we're here for. You know, we need to know what's going on in the area. If we run statistics and it shows that there's nothing going on in that area, then we think, hey, you know, it's all good out there. They have no issues. When in reality, they're having issues. They're just not reporting it. So if nobody reports them, then it looks like, you know, we can go to another area who's having issues, who's reporting crimes, and focus more on that area. That's why it's extremely important that these businesses, you know, report these to the police department. There's a lot of things now you can report online. If you have no suspect information, things of that nature, you can report those online. You don't have to wait for an officer to respond to your place of business. I know some people, like I've said, you know, they've called and they've waited 3-4 hours. I get it, it's frustrating. You don't want to wait that long. Got things to do. We try to make it as easy as possible for everybody, and you can report those online or over the telephone with our telephone reporting unit. Another thing would be cameras. Cameras are extremely important, not only for the businesses, but for us. So if there is an incident that is happening at that business or at a neighboring businesses, it's good to have those cameras in place to try to catch any crimes that are being committed. That way it helps our detectives or our patrol, whoever is investigating that incident at the time, to look at the cameras and see if we can get footage of the suspect or the incident so we can identify them and get them into custody. Another thing that also can be done is we've talked to the businesses previously about this. We've had detectives come and talk about leaving lights on at your place of business, leaving it lit up. Criminals don't want to go to a lit up area, lit up business where they're going to be seen by, you know, a citizen or an officer driving by. We also let them know to leave the cash registers open and empty. That way, if someone's walking by the business, they can, and they're looking inside, they see that cash register is open and there's no money in it. So we try to limit the incentive of these suspects to try to break into your business. And we've noticed, talking to businesses, not only in downtown, but in other areas of the city, it does help them out tremendously. especially if you have cameras leaving those lights on. Not everybody has night vision cameras. So if you have that light on and someone does break into your business, we get a clearer picture of that individual.
Thank you. Thank you for those great tips. And I do have a question about the security footage. So if someone does have video or they have a photo, they're able to somehow get a picture of either a crime, like a crime in progress, or a crime that maybe isn't going on right now, but happened overnight. Where should they submit that? Should that go straight to the police department, or should it go through you, or to both locations?
We ask that you call the non-emergency and let them know, hey, I caught this incident on footage. I have it. Usually we ask that if you do have it, you can copy it to a disk or a flash drive. If not, we will try to come out, and we have flash drives that we can provide. If you do not have one, it's something we really need. But a lot of times we ask that the businesses do it because our officers don't really know how to work their computer systems or their security systems that are in place. So we ask that the businesses, if they can, get a copy ready for us, that way we can book it as evidence. If it's something that I'm aware of, or even if I'm not aware of, I ask the businesses, yes, send me the footage so I can watch it and share it with our officers up here to see if anybody recognizes that individual. Some of these officers that are working with us have been up here over 20 years on the force. So, or even those officers who have not been here as long, but have been in the area pretty much their whole career, and they deal with certain individuals on a daily basis. They recognize a lot of these people. That's one of the ways that we're able to identify some of these individuals.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. It's good to know. And I think that can help, just knowing that you guys are there can help take out some of the frustration that can come from feeling like, I'm reporting, but nothing's happening. But you have to have the evidence that things are going on in order for people to pay attention to the area. So thank you. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit about something you mentioned earlier, which is your top offenders list. Okay. So I kind of want to know a little bit more. I want to share with everyone what exactly is the criteria for being on a top offenders list for the Downtown Business Watch.
So the top offenders list, we sat down with the district attorney because he is the main one that is involved with the top offenders. And we look at this, say an individual not on the top offenders list, yes, yet we look at his history, look at some of the things incidents that he's been involved in, he or she have been involved in, look at the time frame of these incidents, and if they meet a certain criteria, which is 6 months, then we add them to the top offenders list. The DA will then pull all of their history and look at everything, look at all their cases, and then every new case that this individual is involved in, the DA Monty Bennett, he pulls that case and it goes directly to him. That way he's already familiar with their history. He then looks at the new cases and he can go to court and let the judges know how much of a nuisance this person has been, versus say this individual was arrested for trespassing and he gets time served, which was 2 days. But the mainline DA doesn't know about this individual's history, where the neighborhood district attorney is familiar with this individual. He's able to let the judge know, hey, I want more time because this individual has been a nuisance. He arrested one time today, yes, but he's also had 11 other incidents in the past 2 months.
Okay, so a coordination with the DA is kind of what helps you to create this list. And I'd like to ask, what kind of progress have you seen in regards to the list of top offenders? Are you seeing that it's rotating so that, you guys have been able to maybe place some of these individuals either in help that they need, or maybe they're going to jail or they're in prison, and the list is changing? Would you say there's been any transitions?
There have been some. We don't always take the enforcement approach. Some of these individuals do need help, and the DA also understands that, and he will try to get them into the programs that they need to be in order to help them get back to society and help them with any issues that they may have. Sometimes we do have to, unfortunately, take that enforcement approach, and some individuals have gone to jail, gone to prison. But it's definitely, I guess you could say, rotating. But we do have new top offenders that come in every month, just by either the businesses letting us know about these individuals, or by myself or my partner constantly seeing reports, either whether it be from our bike officers who have constantly come in contact with an individual, or just constantly having police contact with incidents that they're involved in. We started looking at it a little bit more and started adding them. So it goes a little bit of both ways, with us adding and the businesses letting us know. The DA also will have some reports with them talking to each other and saying, hey, the other DAs know about Business Watch. So they are saying, hey, we have this problem person that we've had 3-4 cases on. Can we look into adding them to the top offenders list also?
Okay. And my last question about the top offenders list is, do you notice that there's any kind of overlap between top offenders in the downtown area and top offenders in other parts of the city? So are these the same people like throughout Stockton, or are you noticing kind of little pockets, like these top offenders only are perpetrating crimes repeatedly in this one area? So I'm guessing, are these same people going all around the city perpetrating crimes?
So each Business Watch has its own top offenders list. I have 11 total. Some of them do have the repeat offenders in 4 or 5 different Business Watches. I have an individual who's here downtown that started at Wilson Way, made his way to downtown, made his way to Miracle Mile, who made his way then to the mall, then made his way to West March Lane. So they travel, and we've kind of noticed how they travel and they go to each areas, and it's kind of good that we have the Business Watches throughout the city. We don't have them everywhere, but in the areas that we do have them, we do see those individuals traveling through and causing issues in each area. And I'm pretty sure even in areas that we don't have Business Watches, they are probably causing issues also.
Okay. So there is overlap, but having Business Watch programs in multiple areas of the city can help you at least track the movement of where these people are and what they're doing. Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much. And the next question I have is, what kind of approach does the Business Watch take towards homeless perpetrators of crimes?
Like I said earlier, we don't just take that enforcement approach. And our officers are also, our strategic community officers are in charge of the cleanups for the entire city with the transient encampments. But we also go out there what's called a HOT team, homeless outreach team. It's part of behavioral health, community medical centers. We'll go out there as a team and talk to these people and let them know, hey, there is help out there for you. We can help you. It's just all in if they want that help. And some people do, some people don't. It's their right to refuse any service that the city provides. And it's totally fine. It's not illegal to be homeless. And we would like to help out all these individuals. There are beds available at the shelters. There are people that want to help these individuals, but it's just unfortunate they have to want that help, and not all of them want the help.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and with this HOT team, I would be curious to know if you have this information, maybe the percentage of individuals that do accept help, and maybe the percentage that don't. Would you say it's like 50-50, or is there some other breakdown? I'm just curious based on what you were saying.
Yeah, I do apologize. I don't have that.
Sure. No worries. Okay. So I am also curious about something called the LEAD program. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of information about the LEAD program. LEAD program consists of numerous entities, not including the police department. We work with different subsidiaries here in the city to try to assist individuals who are looking to help and get off the streets. There's different programs that they can get involved in with the LEAD program. But I do have an update here. I'm not 100% involved in the LEAD program, but I am somewhat familiar with it. But we do have 4 that are ready to graduate. They've gotten the treatment that they've needed. They've either been housed or they are currently employed, and they are no longer in need of any services from the police department or the city. And they're ready to get back on track and graduate and become a part of society again.
Okay. What are some of the conditions of being in this program, of transitioning out of life on the street?
Lieutenant Smith, can you answer that question?
Absolutely. So again, these individuals who are part of the program, they are there to accept services, whether it's mental health services, medical services, and making sure that they are taken care of throughout the process. Our bike officers are the lead, no pun intended, but they are the main contact for the LEAD program. So they will go out and contact individuals proactively on a daily basis, offer the services, and give folks a pathway to getting back on their feet if they choose to, get them housing, get them jobs, get them the medical care that they need. So in order to graduate from the program, you basically have received all the treatment that you need, no matter what it happens to be. And we've established permanent housing for them, and we've established a way for them to become employed, and they are no longer in need of the services, as CSO Andeola said.
Amazing. Thank you. And how long does it usually take for people to pass through the full program?
That is up to the individual. Our bike officers check in with these folks every single day because they see them every single day, and they'll find out how they're doing. Sometimes it's, hey, I can't get a hold of my caseworker. Can you help me? Can you give me a ride? We do give rides to folks to make sure they make any of the appointments they need. If they need to get down to the county building to handle some clerical issues, we'll help them do that. But it's really, again, it's up to the individual on how consistent they are with their treatment and how consistent they are with really trying to get out. It could be months, it could be a year. It's really hard to tell.
Okay, thank you. And do you have any kind of numbers or data on how many people have gone through the program in maybe the past couple of years?
I don't have anything in totality prepared right now. We keep 25 people in the program at one time, and that is our cap. That is what we can feasibly handle, right? And we do have a waiting list. So we'll talk to folks, hey, do you want services? Yes, I do. Okay, as soon as we get an opening, we're going to be back in touch with you. And so we do have 25 people in the program. As CSO Andeola just said, we have 4 getting ready to leave. So we'll incorporate 4 new folks in. But as far as we've had this program for several years now. So I don't know exactly how many people have passed through. If folks want to do some research on it, we modeled it after the Seattle program. They did this up in Seattle very successfully. And we've really seen some great progress with folks. And unfortunately, some people fall out. They decide they no longer are interested in the help, and they voluntarily tap out. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to remove someone from the program if they're not doing the things we ask of them.
It makes sense. But I think it is a great opportunity for people to transition to another stage of life, improve their lives. So that's a really awesome program. And I am curious, how much overlap is there between the LEAD program and what they do and the HOT team that Community Service Officer Phillip Andeola shared?
There's quite a bit of overlap. As a matter of fact, our mental health teams would go out monthly and make those encounters. And yeah, without getting into too many details, because obviously there's some privacy issues. Yes, they tend to overlap quite a bit.
Okay, so they're coordinating together.
Yes, but just because the HOT team is giving someone services doesn't mean that they're automatically in LEAD or that they're prevented from going to lead. So our hot team is helping as many people as they humanly can, whereas lead, we can only do 25 at a time. So, I mean, many more than 25 are getting helped by the hot team.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks for sharing about the LEAD program and about the approach that the Downtown Business Watch is taking towards homeless perpetrators. So my next question is about just the community at large. How can community members help to facilitate your work with the Downtown Business Watch?
Well, like I spoke about earlier, calling in, letting us know what's going on, and then letting me know. It makes things a lot easier when I know what's going on, the faster the possible. That way I can let our officers know if there's any follow-up that needs to be done by either them or myself or my partner. If we're looking for somebody involved in this incident, then I can let the officers know, hey, here's a photo of this individual, that's who we're looking for. Then they will go out and actively look for him. That communication is key. It's extremely important. Without that communication, none of this would even work. And so the more we communicate, the better.
Okay, amazing. And is there anything that you think people should know or understand about crime and safety in downtown or about the Downtown Business Watch? Anything that you just want to share and make sure people know?
Well, I just want to let people know we're here. We're here for you. We want more businesses involved in the Business Watch. Like I said, if we don't communicate, then we don't know what's going on in the area, and we can't better assist the businesses with any problems that are going on, and not just the businesses, but just everybody in downtown, because there's also a lot of residents in downtown. We want to keep everybody safe, not just the businesses, but also the residents. But I'd also say to be aware of your surroundings. It amazes me that a lot of people don't pay attention to what's going on around them. They're always looking down on their phone when they're walking. It's when a lot of things can happen when you're not aware of your surroundings and what's going on. So just be aware of your surroundings, and if you have any issues, call 911 or the non-emergency.
Awesome, thank you. So my next question, I only have 2 more questions, I promise. The next question is, if someone is interested in starting a downtown, or not a Downtown Business Watch, but just a business watch in their area where their business is located, how can they go about doing that?
So they can reach out to me, and I can, speak with them and see exactly where their business is located. We may have one business watch in that area already. We do have our perimeters that we run our statistics on, but just because maybe say you're right a block away from out of that perimeter does not mean that we're not gonna, have you join that business watch. We want to help as many businesses as we can, but if there is like 0 business watch or nothing in your area, we will work on trying to eventually start a business watch in that area. Right now, it's all based on the resources that we have and the officers that we have, so we can start opening up some new business watches in town here. I know we're looking into a couple areas, and as soon as we get some more officers, it'd be nice to open up a couple new business watches to assist the businesses in the areas.
Okay, amazing. And my last question is, if people want more information about the Downtown Business Watch, or they just want to get in touch with you, ask you some questions, or they do want to get on the list, which you mentioned people should email you for that. But if there's any other way that people can learn more or talk with you, what would be the way that they could do that?
They can email me with that email address, or they can actually call my desk. My number is 209-937-5408. They can go on the City of Stockton's website, and all the contact information for Downtown Business Watch as well as Neighborhood Watch is on the City of Stockton Police Department website. It shows all of our contact, myself and my partner Pablo Sanchez. Information is on there also, as well as the Neighborhood Watch community service officers who are in charge of that. Their information is on there also.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for answering all of my questions. I think that the work that you do is amazing, and it's needed in our downtown area. So now I'm going to go ahead and open it up for the viewer questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So we have a question from Michael Huber. He's asking, can you speak about crime in downtown in comparison to other areas of the city? What could you say about how it compares?
It's kind of comparing apples to oranges.
Okay.
I mean, you can go downtown and we have a business watch here, and then we can go to Trinity Parkway and we have a business watch there. And the crime is just not compared at all. It's a shopping center versus a downtown, which has numerous businesses of different. It's not just clothing. It's not just retail. There's numerous businesses there. The best way I can say to kind of look into it for yourself or anybody who wants to look into it a little bit further and look at the differences in crimes. There's a website called communitycrimemap.com. You can go on there, and it's not just here in Stockton. You can look up, say you want to move to Idaho and you want to look at the neighborhood, the house you want to look into and buying, and you can look that up in the crime in that area. There's different categories you can select as far as crime is concerned. If you're only looking for one or two types of crime, or you can look at everything that they have. That's the best way anybody can compare exactly what they're looking for, comparing theft or comparing loitering and things of that nature. You can do that.
Okay, and that's just publicly available information. So
yes, yeah, we that's one of the resources that we give to the business at the Business Watch. Say, hey, we're not here 24/7. If someone calls me at 8 o'clock at night and says, hey, I need some information in this area, it's like, well, I can get to in the morning, or you can, go on your computer, go on this website and look at it and get the information yourself. The information will be, some of it's redacted. You don't have names, exact locations. It'll be in that same block, but it's not going to give you the exact address, but it will give you the basics of what happened at that incident.
And can you say the name of the site again?
Yes, it is communitycrimemap.com.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. And the next question is, what can be done about loitering in front of businesses?
So it just depends on what business, where your business is located. I know that we have to have no trespassing signs up, no trespassing, no loiterings with the proper Stockton Municipal Code. That is SMC 9.28.050. We also have to have what's called a no trespassing form on file. Majority of the times, the businesses that are part of Business Watch, so they'll ask for it. We will send the forms out. They have to fill them out and then send them back to myself or my partner. And we will then send those to code enforcement and to dispatch to get those on file. That way, if someone is trespassing on somebody's property, our officers have the authority to go out there and remove those individuals.
Okay, so this requires a bit of action on the part of the business owner or building owner.
Yes, definitely. We can't go on private property and just start kicking people out without permission. So.
Okay, thank you. I have another question here. This one's from Johnny Palacios. He says he's noticed several kids on bikes almost daily meeting up downtown after 4:30 p.m. And at times there are many of them. Have there been any issues of vandalism or crime related to these bike riders that you know of? He says he's not saying that they're bad kids. It's just he sees them all over the cinema plaza, and sometimes they're reckless at times in the parking garages.
So we've had a couple of incidents that I've talked to some of the businesses downtown where they're not really committing any crimes other than maybe riding in front of their business or riding on the sidewalk, riding on their private property where they shouldn't be riding their bicycles, where when it's posted, no riding skateboards, no riding bicycles, things of that nature. Have not had any other major concerns from the businesses regarding that, other than I think we had one incident of a tagging at a parking garage, but they weren't certain. They thought maybe it was some kids on bikes, but there was no proof or nobody's seen it. So it was just only assumptions, and can't just assume things are going on just off assumptions. So. Okay.
So just a few things here and there, but it's tagging mostly.
Yes. Well,
All right.
we had one incident, but it seems to be more of just there's so many of them. I know it's been brought up previously. There's so many riding in the downtown area where people are walking. I know businesses are starting to open up a little bit more and doing some of the outdoor dining. And there you got, 100 bicyclists going through. It's a little difficult to deal with sometimes, but for the most part, it's been said for maybe a handful of individuals, pretty peaceful.
Okay. All right. The next question is from Michael Huber again. He's asking, Officer Andeola, you mentioned lighting. Does Stockton PD work with the city's public works department to get streetlights replaced or repaired?
We can if anybody ever brings it to our attention, but we don't actively go out and look at the lighting to see which ones need to be repaired. But if a business brings it to our attention and say, hey, that's, in this corner, this street light, it's been out for 3 months, we will reach out to Public Works and see what we can do about getting it fixed.
Okay, so people can take it, they could mention it to you and you could pass it on.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. And I have just one last question. This is again from Michael Huber. He's asking, because the shelters have available beds, why is Martin versus Boise still being used as a reason not to enforce sleeping in public areas?
Lieutenant Smith, you have an answer for that?
Yes, we're actually not using Martin versus Boise per se right now. What we are doing is during COVID, we made a decision was made unilaterally that we would not be displacing homeless people because of the pandemic. Now, once we are fully open and the governor says, hey, we're back in business, we can take a little bit different approach to that. And again, the first thing we want to do is offer services. We don't want to just start, forcing people out and placing them in shelters or arresting them because, again, it's not illegal to be homeless. So until the pandemic has been completely cleared and we're back open for business, that's kind of the stance that the city has taken.
Okay, so during the pandemic, this is the stance the city has taken. And you're saying once things open up again, something might change. Can you speak a little bit to maybe what that change might look like?
Unfortunately, I don't. These are decisions that are going to be sat down with the city management, all the way from the city manager to the mayor to the chief of police and our command staff. And we will look at what's best for the city, the citizens, the businesses, and the homeless people, and make a decision based on that.
Okay, makes sense. Perfect. So those are all the viewer questions. And I would like to say thank you so much to you, Community Service Officer Andeola, and thank you so much, Lieutenant Smith, as well. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing a lot about what the Downtown Business Watch does. I think the program is amazing. And I also want to thank the viewers for tuning in, and I hope that you learned something valuable that you can take with you. And with that, I want to remind everyone that this video is going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel, which is Downtown Stockton. And if you were watching this on Facebook Live, then you've already found us there. But we also have an Instagram channel, which is at Downtown Stockton. And we are also on Twitter at Downtown STKN. And so I want to say one final thank you for being our guests today. And with that, I would like to say, have a great day downtown. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for having me.